any doubt in your mind that the COVID injection caused some deaths? I mean, what do you think of the, what is it, 38,607 right now listed on VAERS? What do you think the real number is? And do you have any science to back up your opinion?
The best data are autopsies. So in the largest autopsy series published to date, I know because I'm the senior author, of all the deaths we examined, and we re-reviewed them. We had an adjudication committee. We had ways of arbitration deciding on did the vaccine cause death. The answer is, of these cases that came in for autopsy after vaccination, 73.9% of individuals, it was determined that the vaccine was the cause of death.
And Dr. Peter McCullough joins us now to walk us more through his testimony and what ended up, Dr. McCullough, being some pretty heated exchanges with Senator Sidney Blumenthal, who apparently is quite the vax enthusiast. Who knew?
You know, it was stunning. I've learned to be assertive in the U.S. Senate testimony. It's under oath. And remember, I'm under oath, not Richard Blumenthal, senator from Connecticut. And when he gave his opening statement, he had assistants put behind him vaccine advertisements. This was stunning. This was in the U.S. Senate in a formal hearing. We should never have our public servants do false advertising for vaccines or any products.
It is quite stunning, though we know how much money that these pharmaceutical companies donate to the campaigns. I thought the testimony or the hearing has some very revealing moments. Even for me, I'm someone who has looked at this data for how many years. And when you really listen to the grand scale of the death and the effect on fertility rates, particularly, that's something we're talking a lot about because we have Japan releasing fertility data, and it's looking very dismal for the future of that country. Japan might not exist in its form just because they don't have a population to replace their aging population. They're going to have to take in more immigrants. And you look at countries like the Czech Republic and what's happening there. I mean, all across the world, even Elon Musk now is posing the question, Dr. McCullough, has the West committed suicide?
Oh, my Lord. Well, Dr. Vibeke Manici, former public health official in Denmark, has published the Czech data. It's clear for the vaccinated, there was a fertility collapse once we got to December of 2021. The unvaccinated were unchanged, but those who took the vaccine had a precipitous drop in live births. And now data emerging preclinical studies, the vaccines not only disturb the menstrual cycle, but they drop the number of eggs available. This is in a mammalian model by 60%. The vaccines drop sperm count and motility, the two major indicators of male fertility, at least for 6 months. None of this looks good. The vaccines were never tested to see if they're safe among women and men of childbearing age.
Here's a tweet from the account Sudden Death. In just 1 year, COVID vaccines have caused as many deaths as all other vaccines did in 33 years. Dr. McCullough, according to the VAERS data, caused as many deaths as all other vaccines in 33 years. Now, there has been some progress, right, from RFK Jr. and his team in announcing that it will be removed from the recommendations for healthy children and pregnant women. A lot of people are not happy, though, yet. They feel, especially the MAHA movement, that is still not enough, especially given what we're talking about with the scale of the deaths. Dr. McCullough, what is your reaction to the most recent development? It's not completely pulling the shots off the market, which is what most in the MAHA movement wanted to see immediately. I'm one of those. Okay, I'll be honest. I'm a little bit disappointed, but you're closer to the action. So you tell me, how do you feel?
Continued vaccination is costing American lives. And under Senate testimony, I did indicate that, just in 2025 alone, very few people are taking shots. There's still several hundred vaccine deaths. Remember the deaths in VAERS, we should assume the deaths are caused by the vaccine because, I'm a doctor, I report to VAERS. I'm not going to report a death in my practice That's not due to a vaccine in VAERS. The first several pages of the VAERS entry is all about the doctor, their office address, all the data on the reporting person. Believe me, the deaths in VAERS are solid for Americans. We have over 19,400 certified deaths due to the COVID-19 vaccine in VAERS. They continue. And this vaccine should have been pulled off the market actually during the Trump administration, before Trump left office. And so if I was in a power position of president, secretary of HHS, or FDA commissioner, I would have pulled these off the market and saved American lives. Now there is a long chain of command that over 2 administrations now that is culpable for the loss of life due to COVID-19 vaccination. The recent FDA guidance on who should take a shot is just guidance. If children still can take them, the pediatricians can tell the parents that they're giving COVID shots. It's just guidance, but it's still poorly conceived. Here in the New England Journal of Medicine, Macri and Prasad, the 2 FDA staffers now who wrote this article, indicate that 31% of adults should be taking COVID-19 vaccines. Well, what's the problem? Only 50% FDA team is out of touch with reality. And I thought their press briefing was quite telling. At the very end, RFK, after they announced that they are going to narrow the population for vaccination, RFK said this, change is a step in the right direction to make America healthy again. So think about that. Less COVID-19 vaccination makes the population healthier, according to RFK. What is he saying? Vaccination actually makes the population unhealthy and actually have disease and death. What an amazing time we're in.
Yeah, it kind of seems like a hostage situation when you explain it that way. Dr. McCullough, so what's going on? What's holding them back? You mentioned the chain of command. What is that chain of command? So Bobby Kennedy's taking orders from someone else who says you can't take these shots off the market. Who is that? Who is that entity?
Investigative journalists have to figure this out. It looks like somebody's giving the orders to both Trump and Biden. Remember, the COVID vaccines are the only issue Trump and Biden are completely aligned on. This is astonishing.
Yeah.
You think of Trump, if he wanted to distinguish himself from the Biden administration, he'd pull these vaccines off the market. But yet Trump is in lockstep with Biden on the vaccines. So someone's giving the orders, and the chain of command is following down right now. And we need to figure out what's going on. And this biopharmaceutical complex, this vaccine cartel is very powerful, because whatever's happening in the United States is going on worldwide. Not a single country has pulled these off the market.
You're right. And that's despite the fact that it's not just myocarditis, right? There is an undeniable explosion of cancer. It's not just, you can look around you anecdotally. I know I can. I have conversations with people all over the country about it. Everywhere around me, Dr. McCullough, I'm hearing of someone, most often my age, right? I'm early 40s. And younger. My colleagues in 30s, many of them announcing they have a cancer diagnosis. Children, which was discussed at the hearing. In fact, let's listen to what an oncologist recently said about childhood cancer. Listen.
It's everywhere, and oncologists are screaming at the top of their lungs, and they're seeing a correlation, not with COVID, the virus, but when the vaccine rolled out, an uptick in cancers over the military complex. I went through what's called the Department of Defense epidemiological system, and that particular system showed a 40% uptick in cancers starting in 2021.
It's obvious. So I think you're right. We need to get to the bottom of who is giving these orders. Before we run out of time, and that's, we're all on a mission for that. Before we run out of time, I do want to also play what you said about warning labels being placed on the boxes of vaccine. That's informed consent. Let's take a listen.
When a product definitely results in death, and there are thousands of peer-reviewed papers on this, Governor, the COVID vaccines in some people, sadly, result in death. Some on the very first day they take the shot. That must be a black box warning on the product immediately.
They haven't pulled the shots. Any chance of a black box warning on the shots?
You know, they just revised the label to just expand and unify the age range. It says myocarditis can occur ages 16 to 25. Well, that's not correct, because there's peer-reviewed published fatal cases of myocarditis of men in their 70s. Former Tampa Bay Bucks coach Bruce Arians took the vaccine, had myocarditis in his 70s. So the FDA warnings just changed the age range. They still don't warn vaccine recipients that they can die of myocarditis. Dr. Carol Tassetta of the Daily Clout in 2023 wrote Peter Marks at the FDA and said there are clear indications for black box warnings, and for both myocarditis, actually for anaphylaxis or acute allergic reactions. And the FDA still, even with new staffers, is not listening. They're not following the regulatory law. Vaccines cause death. It's proven in the peer-reviewed literature. There must be a black box warning if they're going to stay on the market.
But they shouldn't be on the market. I had hoped we would find ourselves in a different place today, Dr. McCullough. When Bobby Kinney got confirmed, we all celebrated it. We had high hopes. I still do. But every day that goes by that they're not pulled off the market, there's more people that are going to be injected and could die. Dr. McCullough, thanks for staying strong on this issue. We hope that some of our former colleagues and mentors find some courage in this moment as well, and that whoever is giving them this instruction, they won't listen to them anymore. We have lots of work to do, Dr. McCullough. Thank you so much for continuing your fight.
Thank you.